Zombie Apocalypse Story, Part 13, Grand Designs. I slept surprisingly soundly last night, despite our unsecured building and a possibly infected house guest. I listened to the radio in the shower. The government has just upped and disappeared, with no one having any idea where they've gone. London is lost, along with Liverpool, Manchester, Birmingham, Newcastle, Cardiff, and just about any other major population area you can imagine. But apparently areas are holding out for the moment. Hastings are in the process of organising a wall to be built on the coast. They would only have to do half the job we would, being against the coastline, but they'd have to walk. But no one knows if the creatures can swim yet. Canterbury was also holding out. The ancient walls around it had more or less channeled the dead in one direction, stopping them from being surrounded. Nothing had been heard from Ireland or the rest of the world. I left the peace of the shower to the grim reality. Another busy day surviving. At least we would be relatively safe once we'd made a few cosmetic changes to the building. I thought about the Territorial Army base up the road, a few miles away, near the lot where we made our feeble attempt at a last stand. When I last saw it, the fence was still surrounding the base, intact. Maybe there were soldiers waiting to take back the town. I dismissed the thought almost immediately. I would only have used it as an excuse to go back to bed. After a few pieces of dry toast, we forgot to get butter on our trip to the shops. Not much was said over breakfast. We were all too aware of what might have to be done soon, with Jane still handcuffed to the radiator a couple of rooms down. John took the lead. Right, let's get started. We have stairs to smash. He was right. We sit here filled with melancholy, then we were all dead. We would need to destroy 2 sets of stairs to make sure the things could not get out to our living area. In between was a small landing for the first floor. We elected to keep that, make supplies easier to get up. To get up to the landing, we'd have to do a delicate balancing act on the post boxes to get up. The last part, we would use a large cupboard we found in one of the rooms, laid across the gap, easy to push away if the creatures got up to the landing, but solid enough to hold our weight. First we would have to clear the ground and first floors. Toby and the gals were fairly sure everyone had left, but we didn't want to bump into one just because we hadn't been careful. Plus it would be a good opportunity to scavenge supplies from the other rooms. We would start on the first floor and then the ground, then destroy the staircases. What a fun day. Me and Toby both grabbed bats. John would take the rifle, being the only one of us to have fired a gun before. He shot a heron once, but it would be a last resort, and we didn't want the extra noise to attract them. Lara unlocked the door on the landing on the first floor and we went in. There was an odd smell, the smell you always get in buildings like this, and you wonder what the hell they're cooking. Toby dragged the sledgehammer behind him. I could tell he was excited to smash something, but hopefully he wouldn't get the chance. Maybe I've been reading the how-to books too much, but I've been looking at an article on lockpicking with a paperclip. I tried last night while I'm watching, got mixed results. I straightened out the paperclip and approached the closest door and knelt down. 2 packs of fags says you can't do it, Toby said gleefully. You're on, I replied, and knocked on the door. Hello, Ghostbusters. John gave me a weird look. Like it matters what I say, I replied. After 10 seconds, no reply. I inserted the pick and John and Toby got ready. I gave up after 20 minutes and pulled out a hammer and screwdriver. I inserted the screwdriver and smashed the other end of the hammer, taking out my frustration of having lost 2 packs of cigarettes. The lock broke and the door opened. I rolled to the left. Nothing. I went in first, keeping the cricket bat in front of me. It was dim in the room, all the curtains and doors were closed. We cleared it, empty of dead and live occupants. We cleared all 5 rooms on the first floor. It took a couple of hours, and it was about midday. Laura and Jenna would now move in and scrape the place clean for things we could use. We stopped for a lovely bread sandwich, a can of drink and a fag. Delicious. We repeated the process for the ground floor. All was well until we got to the last room. I forced the door and we went in. Bedroom first, clear. Bathroom, clear. Down the hallway, opened the door to the living room / kitchen. Toby was following me closely, and the two of us fell into the room. He landed on top of me. Get off me, you insufferable oaf. He got up and I realised the floor was damp. I looked at my hand. Red. A lot of it. I scrambled to my feet and saw it. All 3 of us stood there and gaped. The source of the blood was clear, a golf club bent in the middle, the corpse with its head caved in. But the most shocking was the body suspended from the ceiling with rope around its neck. A man dressed in a white shirt smeared with red and black trousers, barefoot. The most disturbing thing was the fact he was still moving. It was reaching out as if trying to embrace us, its feet kicking uselessly. What do we do about that? Toby questioned. It was a good question. Suspended like that, it would be difficult to smash its head in without getting grabbed. We could try to cut it down, but then we had the problem of it being mobile. Shooting it was an option, but the damn noise. He started to moan. Go get your machete and the mop stick, I said. Toby ran off to get them. I looked around the room. It was simply decorated, god-awful green wallpaper, brown leather sofa, matching chair, crammed into the small space, along with a TV that looked all as me and John put together. A small coffee table with pictures scattered on it, wedding photos clearly, showing the man who was now intent on trying to unhook himself from the roof, and a woman that was probably her on the floor. Not that you could tell anymore. It didn't take a genius to work out what happened here. Toby returned. Okay, here's the plan, I said. I'm going to distract him from the front with a stick. Toby, you climb on the armchair and, well, you know. He nodded grimly. John would cover us from behind. I moved towards it, just out of its reach. It got more excited, kicking more furiously. I prodded it with the paw in the chest. It grabbed hold, trying to pull me towards it. Toby went round it as it was focused on me. The fury in its eyes was like something I'd never seen, like an animal's. No, you see emotion, intelligence in an animal's eyes. Here you saw nothing. I was so memorised by that I didn't notice Toby swing. It cut deep but didn't remove the head. The thing lost interest in me and tried to twist around to Toby. He took another swing. The body thudded to the floor, and the head came loose from the knot and landed on the coffee table. We couldn't believe it. Its head was still moving, chomping at the bit as if daring us to come closer. We watched it. 3 minutes passed. Still it was moving. The reasons for watching and not throwing out the window was simple. Information. I poked it with the pole. It bit down on it. I pulled back and lifted it up into the air slightly. Decapitation did not work. You had to actually destroy the brain. John finished the head off with a carving knife. We headed over to the hanging thing, whose body was now lying on the floor, and checked his pockets. A wallet and pocket garbage was all I found. Whilst I went through the wallet, John was looking at the now headless body. He lifted up his shirt. Gay, I said. Dude, help me get his trousers off, John said, not smiling. Dude, necrophilia is not the answer no matter how bad the situation gets. Shut up and get them off. I complied and we took him down to his skivvies. "What do you see?" he said. "Your ideal boyfriend," I replied. "Seriously, what do you see?" I took a second and answered. "No bites, scratches, nothing. How did he turn?" "Maybe it's airborne," Toby chimed in. That was a horrifying thought. "Maybe it just doesn't kick in till you're dead and bites just accelerate the process," John mused. "Ah, Walking Dead style," I came up with. "We're all infected. When you stop breathing, you turn." Silence descended on the room. There was not much we could do with our new musings. We couldn't prove or disprove any of it. We rolled the body up in the front room's bed sheets, used a rope to secure them, and dragged them through into the main entranceway. "Should we say something?" Toby asked. The man's wallet said his name was Mark. I couldn't find anything for his wife. "I'll say something," I said. It's been a while since I said a prayer, but Frank and his wife have been wearing matching silver crucifixes, so they obviously believe. It would be right to say something. Bow your heads and close your eyes. Dear God, please take your servants, Mark and Mark's wife, into your loving arms, where there will be no suffering or pain. This we ask in your name. Amen. The other two murmured Amen. We unceremoniously dropped the two bodies on the doorstep of a church around the corner. Why are there so many churches around here? We would have liked to do a bit more, but the dead prevented this. We re-entered the flats and the next job began. The staircases were quickly demolished with a sledgehammer, and we were soon on the top floor looking it down at the mess we created. We were safe, for now. Maybe. We hoped. But one thing was left. It was now 5 o'clock. I've been putting this off for a while now, but we had to check on Jane, handcuffed in the other room. No matter how much I wanted this problem to disappear, it wouldn't. Me and John got up and proceeded to the room. We carefully opened the door and headed in. I turned the handle to the living room. "Don't come in!" I jumped back from the door, treading on John's foot. I recovered my composure. You okay in there?" I asked. "No, you didn't leave me any fucking toilet paper." "Oh, sorry about that. Can we go in?" "Hold on." "Okay, I'm decent." We entered the room. Jane was still handcuffed. She'd drunk all the water and eaten the food I had left. "You still haven't turned," I said. "Can I see your arm?" She pulled back defensively. I knelt beside her. "Please, Jane, just let me see it." She relaxed and held out her arm. It was unmistakably a bite, and a human one too, so why wasn't she turning? "John, I need to speak for you. Do you mind if you head out for a bit?" He grunted and walked away. He couldn't get out of there quick enough. It was clear he didn't like Jane. Not that I could blame him. Holding kids hostage does not endear yourself to most people. Be back in a sec. I left the room, grabbed a couple of things and returned. I emptied our toilet bucket, but this time brought toilet roll as well. Used some more water. I brought her some water and a couple of pot noodles. I passed her one and started on mine. "So, want to tell me what happened?" I questioned, slapping on a noodle that was bigger than I expected. "You know what happened. You know it's a bite, and you're going to kill me for it." She started to weep. I sighed. "You're not turning. You were bitten over 24 hours ago, but you're still you. You aren't trying to eat my brains." "But we don't know why. We can't let you just wander around the place." "I'm sorry, I wish it could be different." I looked down at my noodles. They didn't look so good anymore. There was a pause, and suddenly, "I forgive you." "What?" I looked up, shocked. "I forgive you. I'm sorry for what I did. It wasn't right for me to do that. Nothing can excuse it. She looked down at the floor. Look, how about we just eat? I said. And we carried on eating. We chatted and talked about ourselves. She used to be a personal trainer at the gym near the shopping centre. Standard backstory, single, small house. Near where we found her, with a greyhound called Duke, who was still there apparently, without food. God, I like cats, but I also like dogs. And the thought of it there just slowly starved to death got to me. What's the address? I asked. Why? Do you want your dog back or not? She gave me the address. Before I left the room, I cleaned the bite of antiseptic and put a fresh bandage on. And also left her a couple more bottles of water and some snacks. I said we would take a vote at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Everyone, including her, would get to give their point of view. In the meantime, I would try and get her dog back. I uncuffed her hand that was high up on the radiator and lowered it before snapping it shut again so it would be more comfortable. Good night, she said. I went to step out. Night, I replied without turning round. 10 p.m. I'm sitting here in the dark, watching walls of metal, fencing, wood, cars, anything that the locals can get their hands on in Hastings to build a wall against the undead. The battle could go either way, but I know who I would be betting on. Sky has fallen asleep next to me on the sofa, halfway through Finding Nemo. I picked her up and carried her to the bedroom and tucked her in. Night night, she muttered, rolled over, and fell asleep. I half closed the door behind me. John didn't approve of the idea of going to get a dog, but has decided to come with me. I lied down on the sofa, and the darkness enveloped me. Part 14, coming soon. Canines and